Welcome to episode 192 of the weekly Shared Security Show. And joining me this week is both co-hosts, the wonderful Mr. Scott Wright and the infamous Kevin Johnson.
Oh, I like how you're wonderful and I'm infamous.
Infamous is a positive thing.
Hey,
right?
I'm proud of being infamous.
We could say legendary. It's a bunch of words for you, Kevin. Some that I can't mention on this podcast, but all positive things.
By the way, I just want to point out I'm wearing a Red Siege shirt. The reason I want to point that out is, I'm sorry?
Why?
The reason I want to point that out is I was doing the project committee meeting for OWASP today, and they constantly give me crud about being not vendor neutral. So I've been wearing different vendor shirts to every single one of their meetings. I'm not sure that's what they mean about not being vendor neutral, but it's what I'm getting at.
Well played.
It's well played. That's right.
Yeah. Is this part of the whole OWASP 20th anniversary thing?
No, I'm like the vice chair or whatever the projects committee.
Vice president?
Vice president? No, I'm not. I'm not as good as you are. And, I'm no Tom Esther. So I've been on the project committee for almost a year now, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're trying to figure out, how do we fix some of the processes. Projects are one of the two main things that are OWASP, right? You have projects, you have chapters, and for the longest time, across the board at OWASP, things have just kind of been there, right? Chapters did what they did, projects did what they did, and we're trying to come up with figuring out how to make it easy for projects to be promoted, how we can give them guidelines on how to do things, and I find it quite interesting. And all of our meetings are public, so I'm not revealing anything that isn't available to the world. I find it interesting. There seems to be this hypocrisy in OWASP, right? You have the people who are the Richard Stallman, I like to have sex with parrots, everything should be free. And then you've got the people who are like, hey, I want to make this work, and companies have to help with that. And then you have the third where, companies who bluntly don't contribute to any open source projects, but somehow they pay money or do something, and they're able to advertise their services to all the membership and stuff like that. And I'm not saying any of that's bad. I'm just saying that there's this, I constantly get crud because years ago when Samurai became an OWASP project, the OWASP leadership, whatever that means, the organization, the administration, they subscribed me to the mailing list for leaders, which you have to be subscribed to. You can't just go sign up for it. And they subscribed to my Security.txt email address. Okay, that makes sense. Well, now people are mad because when I email the leaders list, it's Security.txt. Well, you're advertising. No, I'm not advertising. That's my email address. That's I'm sorry.
You're supposed to have an OWASP.
You have to have a Gmail address.
What I remember.
So you get an OWASP.org email address, but when I was signed up for the list,
I have one.
I didn't have that.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just this weird thing. This is a weird hypocrisy thing. And I get a kick out of it. So we're trying to make it better.
Yeah.
I'm putting my time where my mouth is.
That's great.
So
nice.
It's good.
I knew there was a point here
I'm
somewhere.
Not a vice president.
Yeah.
But I'm not a vice president. I'm just going to.
No, you're not a vice.
Again. Yeah,
you're not associate vice president either.
I'm not even an associate. I am allowed to associate with vice president.
You can. Yes, you can.
Yeah,
but you were a vice president at the bank.
Yeah.
For 2.5 months. I don't think that counts.
And Tom's too humble to mention it, but he was promoted. He's now an associate vice president at his office.
I would argue that that's not good. And here's why. Because Tom is so much better than an associate vice president. He should be the owner. He should be the dude in charge. This is great. Congratulations. At some point, maybe they'll recognize the greatness they have.
Thank you. Well, they did promote me, so I guess that's a start, right?
Baby steps. Baby steps.
Yeah, baby steps. So, before we talk about world domination, let's talk about some news.
Sure.
And I think first story here: Microsoft has enabled signing into your Microsoft account without a password which for some reason I thought that they've had this for a while. And I'm thinking of Windows Hello.
Yeah.
Specifically, because I mean, if you bought a laptop in the last, I don't know, 3 years or something, a
20
Windows
years.
laptop, yeah, you had the option of logging in with Windows Hello, which basically, because of the camera and biometrics, right, facial recognition.
If I understand it correctly, yes, they have had this, but this is a change to one, really push it, but two, change it around so that, like with Windows Hello, my face is my password or whatever.
Yeah.
If that fails, you're still able to log in with a password.
Yeah, correct.
So you have to start by setting up a password.
Right. Well, but
not anymore.
You still have to start setting up a password with this. If you read the documentation or the stuff that's out there, you create an account and you set up a password for the account, and then you turn on passwordless.
That's right.
And my understanding, or at least my hope, is that means while you have a password, it is no longer a valid way to log in, right? And that's the big difference, is that up until now, you always had that fallback, right? Oh, I'm wearing a mask and so it doesn't work, and so I can type in my PIN or my password or whatever. I personally find this hilarious because for years I have complained that Microsoft does not accept spaces in passwords. And instead of, that simple step and then encouraging passphrases, which are significantly harder to get in and easier for people to use, instead we'll add more complexity, more stuff. And I'm not saying it's bad complexity, bad stuff. It just, I find it funny that instead of fixing some of the core problems with what was an acceptable password to a Microsoft account, they add this complexity instead. And I don't know.
So what is the fallback if somebody throws acid in your face and you no longer look the same?
I don't know. I will bet you that it's some type of support system where you have to validate. It would be the same thing as if you've got a security token and you lose it, there has to be some type of reset system.
Yep.
Right. That somebody else can say, hey, I'm authorized. Scott is Scott.
Yeah.
Let's re-register a key for him.
But I can't think of a system right now that doesn't have a password or secret of some kind as a fallback.
Yeah, I agree. But I will bet you what happens here, and I don't know, but I bet you what will happen here is that you'll have to go through some process, and what they'll do is they'll disable the passwordless only, and so you will go back to that password you set up when you created the account originally, and then you'll be able to turn it back on, right?
Yeah, and there's a feature.
Have you ever had a Google Authenticator die? I had a phone, and it was before I used Authy that would do backups of the secret.
And I lost everything. Yeah,
I lost
I was
everything.
in that camp. Yep.
I was able to get into my Google account. They turned off two-factor authentication on my Google account. I logged in and turned it back on.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm assuming it's something like that.
That's the same thing. If you log into your Microsoft account, they even say here, you have to turn on passwordless accounts.
Yeah.
In their additional security options. But to get to that, you have to have a password.
Right. Yeah.
We're never going to get rid of passwords. That's my bottom line is I think there will always be passwords at some point.
Passwords are as dead as mainframes are.
Yeah.
I like it.
That is a good analogy. I actually like that a lot.
Everybody, you hear it all the time. Mainframes are dead. Mainframes are dead. Shit, those things do a lot of processing.
Cobalt programming languge is dead too. Yeah.
Yeah, Cobalt's dead. Mainframes are dead. Perl's no longer used. I know that's not a mainframe language, but I just want to throw Perl in there because I don't think it gets mentioned enough.
Poor Perl. But
it's so sad that write once, read never language.
But I think it still is a good step, right?
Oh, yeah,
At least where, for your laptop or your desktop, and you're using Windows, you don't have to have a password necessarily. You could use another option. And they give you different options, security key, text message. I mean, it's good that they're giving that flexibility and it's not just a password now.
Yeah, I'm amazed that InfoSec Twitter hasn't raged about the fact that they're allowing SMS as one of the means.
So
because that's an argument I always like to
Still
get in
better
on.
than no two-factor.
Yeah.
So,
And you know what, Tom? I think we should have an episode that has some focus on the Google Authenticators and Authies and stuff like that.
that's a great idea. Yeah.
I like it.
I like it. Cool. Are you looking for the very best products to protect your digital privacy? Well, Silent Pocket has everything you need with their patented product line of high-quality Faraday bags, backpacks, clutches, and wallets. Visit silentpocket.com today and receive 10% off your order by using discount code SHAREDSECURITY.
You want your organization to be secure and compliant and to have a healthy culture. But your employees' lack of awareness makes you vulnerable to data theft, fraud, and compliance penalties. It's frustrating that the boring, static training content that's being used today has failed to improve employees' ability to defend against cyber attacks. At ClickArmor, we know that without using gamification, it's extremely hard to get staff to understand how to avoid threats. Our gamified simulations and challenges have provided a 50% average improvement in thousands of employees' ability to spot phishing threats. Go to clickarmor.ca/sharedsecurity to get your free gamified phishing assessment for up to 500 employees. You'll see quickly how gamified simulations can help your team be more resilient and compliant and help avoid costly ransomware and fraud incidents. Let ClickArmor help you go from being an underappreciated, stressed out fall guy to being an innovative leader who's the catalyst for greater productivity in your organization.
So, are you guys getting the Facebook smart glasses?
I already got some. Thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, you're recording us without our permission, Scott.
Yes, that's right.
So
When
privacy
Zenny
violation.
Optical offers them, I'll buy them.
Zenny.
Yeah. Well, they're actually Ray-Bans, so they got the cool factor.
They're stylish,
right?
yeah.
See, obviously you don't know Zenny Optical because
No, I don't.
you don't wear glasses.
I know
though,
from
do
the
you?
Professor of Rock. They sponsored the Professor of Rock on YouTube.
Oh, okay, nice.
Oh, I don't know. what that
Zenny
is.
Optical
Okay.
is like I think they're like a Chinese company. I know it takes a while to get the glasses, but like if you go do your eye exam and then stop at like I don't know, Lens Crafters, is that a glass company?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
It's like $400 for that pair of glasses.
Yeah.
You can get them for like 13 at Zenny Optical, and
Nice.
and so I have like pairs of glasses scattered between my office here and the office at the office. That sounded dumb to say, but I have a pair in my car in case I forget to switch between my reading glasses and my glasses that enable me not to run into other cars. And doing that at Lens Crafters would have been, expensive.
Yep.
Instead, I spent, I don't know, $100 at Zenny and waited 2 weeks and got 16 pairs of glasses.
Nice.
That's an exaggeration.
Nice.
Yeah. So I mean, we've talked about in the past, there was like the Snapchat goggles or whatever. There was Google Glass way back in the day. All of these things have kind of failed, right? As a product. But I'm interested in your opinion, both your opinions of this product from Facebook. Is this really something that's going to take
I'll let
off?
Kevin go first, and then if we have
time.
time, I'll finish.
Yeah. I think this is very simple. I think that there is a market for this. It's the people who are I hate to use the term, but influencers. I find it interesting that so many people, and I know that you didn't, I'm just saying that so many people online are comparing these to Microsoft HoloLens or Google Glass because all they are is a set of speakers to play music on and cameras, and there's a microphone to activate the cameras and control the music and a touchpad to do it. There's no augmented reality. There's no like even
they take pictures. Yeah,
they take pictures and video. And I like even to see your battery, it's a LED that you look at, not a display of some type. So they're just a way to put a camera on somebody's face. To me, this competes with GoPro, right?
Yeah, it's like this on your face.
Yeah, exactly. And you can see through it. So to me, I think it's a dumb idea for me. If I was one of those people that was like, okay, Disney. I go to Disney all the time. I love Disney. It's my happy place, right? And I would think that would be neat to be able to put glasses on and then just have it take pictures whenever I want without having to worry about pulling my phone out and doing this. And that's neat. Is that $300 neat? Not for me. Is it forget my privacy neat? No. I think this will take off as much as the Facebook portal took off, right? How many people do you know have a Facebook portal? 6?
0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was one.
I know I've talked to people that have it, right? Or at least say they have it. I don't know. I don't have one. There are people who like this kind of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. Facebook fanboys, fangirls, I think we'll jump on this. Like you said, influencers possibly, but is this really, because there's no augmented reality or, and I think this is probably a baby step for Facebook because they do have the Oculus and they have, they really are and have said, and I think we talked about this on the show before, that, they are trying to create this metaverse. And they did that with their the spaces, I think, where everybody's an avatar in a meeting room if you have the Oculus. So they are trending in that direction. And this may be kind of like Amazon.
Yeah.
Didn't Amazon have glasses too?
They have glasses that have the Echo in them.
Yeah. So they're playing in this space too, just see if maybe it grabs the market and people get interested in it. But I think you're right, Kevin. This is
so I really like Kevin's comment about the GoPro, right? It from my point of view, regardless of whether there's AR or intelligence in these things, it's the creep factor that kind of you zero in on and you say, what was the problem with Google Glass and stuff like that? People didn't want people intruding in locker rooms and all that stuff. And so having a pair of these glasses on, everybody's going to be suspicious. So my solution here, I think, that every vendor should consider is having something like a robotic parrot that just sort of sits on your shoulder. So it's very overt, right? You just, in fact, when you're skiing on a ski hill and you see somebody with a GoPro on the top of the helmet, it's like, okay, yeah, I understand what that guy's doing.
Yeah.
You're
saying that Richard Stallman is behind the put a parrot on everybody's shoulder.
It.
And
that's hilarious. No one would suspect a thing. Yeah.
At all. I'm a pirate. That's what I am. Oh, man.
That's awesome.
I think they're neat. It's from a perspective of, GoPro aspect. I think they're neat. I could totally see the people who are. I've got a really good friend up north, and he snowboards. He actually teaches people how to snowboard. That's and he constantly tries to get me to go up. I could see him buying these, right? And I think this would be a good usage, right? He's teaching somebody how to snowboard. He's teaching people how to do the tricks. He can have the glasses on, and then at the end of the session, they can review it. Here's what you did. Here's what you didn't do. Here's the recording, right? Like, I see a use for these. That's the same use the GoPro has.
Yeah, I think the GoPro.
It's just in a more convenient.
Same with the robotic parrot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same with the robotic parrot. You'd also be able to buy clothes for the parrot, right?
Oh, that's accessorizing. That's all part of the. Yeah.
Exactly. My parrot would have a top hat, an eye patch, or something.
Smart
monocle.
Yeah.
Parrot with a monocle.
Yeah.
There you go. Nice.
Next topic.
So this one, it's the Security.txt file. Saw this story on Security.com the other day, and I thought it'd be interesting to bring up because I've heard this mentioned, I think, a lot more just recently. Maybe not.
There's
a
couple loud
recently.
people on Twitter.
There has been more of that. So for those of you that don't know what the Security.txt file is it's a file that website administrators would put up in their, the root of their web directory that would have information about how to contact the security team of a vulnerability on their website, their disclosure policy. You could put, their, privacy policy, all kinds of different policy and related things that, email address for the security team, all those things. So some people in the industry are trying to set that as a standard across InfoSec. So
because we've done so well with setting the other standards of operational security, let's add a new one that everybody will ignore. I think it's quite telling that if you look at Security.txt, which is a site that crawls websites and does this, the top 250 sites, 38 of them have some form, and many of those are not completely accurate. So we're at like a 15%, just over a 15% adoption rate. Here's the thing. We have had standards for years on how to document, how to get in touch with security. Security@domain.com, right? Like, done. If you email security@security.com, I'm sorry?
Right. That should be a standard, right?
It is a standard. It's an RFC. That exists. Whether companies follow it is different. Follow it.
Yeah.
Right? If we can't get people to add an alias for an email address, why do you think they're going to start adding an entire text file with information and contact information and links to the bug bounty program and all this kind of stuff? Here's what I think. I believe that the same people who think every company should have a bug bounty program are the drivers behind let's create a standard file to tell people what the bug bounty program is. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying there are so many other things we should fix in the industry. The loudness I've seen over the last few months about this crappy text file is a waste, in my opinion.
It does lead me to believe who's pushing this. Like you said.
Yeah.
Is it the bug bounty programs? Because it makes their jobs and makes bounties a little bit easier. To obtain money.
Just an example of something that I've come across, and I don't spend as much time on the technical side of security as you guys do, clearly. But I'm part of a startup accelerator program, and we have a Slack channel, and people share questions and comments. And one company texted to say, "I got this note from some guy who says he's found a vulnerability in our website, and he will fix it for us for a certain price, right? And how do I know if it's legitimate or not?" And
it's not.
I couldn't, all I could say was don't trust the guy, but you should do something to try and publish how people can reach you if they have discovered a vulnerability.
See, I don't know that you're right, Scott.
Okay.
And here's why. Here's why I say that. Didn't they reach him?
Yeah, but how do you know whether if they don't have a protocol to follow, how do you know if they're actually legitimate?
What? No. This doesn't verify that the person reporting it is legitimate.
Right.
So what you said, if I understood you correctly, was you told the person you should publish some way for people to reach you. And I would argue they don't need to, because he was reached.
True, but that's not the point. The point was, how do you reliably exchange information with somebody to determine if you can trust them?
This isn't the way to do it.
Okay.
To be clear, I think your problem is absolutely correct, right? Because we get them all the time, right? The sheer number of bug reports that I receive from people who don't understand how to run their own tools is enormous, right? My customers receive it. I'm constantly getting asked the same exact question. Hey, we just got told by this person that we have this thing and it's insecure, and what do we do? And my first question always is it? Like, do you really have that thing? I have customers that don't have any data in AWS and get told that they have open S3 buckets. I have customers who don't have any data in GCP and get told that they've got data out there. I've got customers that aren't running Exchange and are told they're not patched. How do you validate that? The only way to truly validate it that exists today, and in my opinion doesn't actually solve the problem, but is to sign up with a bug bounty program.
Right. That's exactly what I told them to do. So
yeah. But if you do that, if you sign up with one of those HackerOne, BugCrowd, whatever, my next question for you before you sign up for it is, are you even ready to sign up for it? Right? I've talked to customers. I've got customers that are in bug bounty programs. And yet, if I run an Nmap scan of their external network, they have RDP exposed to the internet. They're not ready for a bug bounty program, right? I have a customer that they have us do vuln scanning of their internal network and their external network on a monthly basis. And they have findings in their report that were found
Right.
when we started working with them 3 years ago, and they haven't remediated.
So let's
that person signing up for a bug bounty program isn't going to help them.
Right. So what
Right?
would you recommend for somebody who isn't ready yet for a bug bounty program?
I would recommend not worrying about it until you get the email, and then based on what the email says, think about what you want to do and plan ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But like, okay, so this guy that you have, the guy writes him and says, I found a vulnerability. I can fix it if you pay me money. Okay. Are you willing to pay some random schmo on the internet money to fix your stuff? I'm not.
No.
So my first step would be to respond to the guy, and my first step would be to go find out if anything he says in the email is real.
Right.
Right? Am I vulnerable to that? Do I have that mistake? If I do, I need to go fix it. Okay? How I fix it depends on the problem. Then I make a decision. Do I thank the person and move on? Do I ignore the person? Or do I pay them a bounty even though I don't have a bug bounty program? And I don't know the right answer. If somebody has demanded money from me to fix something, I lean toward thanking them and moving on.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've done that, right? I've written back to people and said, thank you for letting me know it's not true. Because I will tell you that so far, not a single report Secure Ideas has received about Secure Ideas has been accurate. Okay? I write back and say, thank you very much for your information. It's not accurate. Here's why. Have a nice day. Oh, and by the way, we don't have a bug bounty program. We didn't give you permission to scan our shit. I always put that in the email.
Yeah. Yeah.
If somebody was to come to me and say, Kevin, you have this problem, and they found it, I'd be like, man, that's awesome. Thank you very much. I don't know how we missed it. I would evaluate why we missed it. Mm-hmm. We scan all of our own stuff. We test all of our own stuff constantly. I'd want to know how I missed it. I'd fix it. And then depending on what it was, I'd thank them and move on. I'd send them a t-shirt. I'd give them some stickers. I don't know. I don't have a bug bounty program.
Yeah.
I can't imagine anybody finding something at Secure Ideas that is vulnerable that would be worth me paying the money.
Interesting.
Right?
No, it's a good perspective, because I had kind of always thought, since I heard about the Security.txt idea, I thought that sounds reasonable. It's a pretty has pretty high integrity. If you can put something in your DNS system that tells people what to do, yeah, that's pretty reliable. But the rest of the process, like you said, is questionable, right? And there are.
And I agree with you. Having the information on my website, because it's a file that goes onto your website,
yeah.
and you're absolutely right. At some level, there's a higher level. I don't know if integrity is the right word. It's not the word you use. It's the word I'm using it. I'm not sure integrity is the right word, but there is a higher level to be able to say, you know what? That probably came from Secure Ideas because it's on securideas.com, mm-hmm. right? But I'll tell you right now, we have all of the contact information.
Yeah.
Right? And with Secure Ideas, why I don't feel it necessary for me to give you a specific security contact was 1, abuse at and security at work for me.
Yeah.
2, 3, I guess. 3, my entire company practically can react to a security bug.
Yeah, but not everybody's can, so.
No, I know that. That's what I'm saying is me.
Oh, yeah.
I don't find it necessary to do. I don't have a specific contact. The security at and abuse at actually goes to our consulting mailing list, our internal group.
Yeah.
Right? We're lucky that way.
Yeah.
Other companies.
But I don't think it's a bad idea for sure to have a security at email address for that purpose and just say it on your website.
I would argue it's not a bad idea because it's the damn standard. When you register,
I didn't know that before.
And I didn't know that either. So I learned
it's
something
one of
here.
the things you say you'll do.
Yep.
It's part of the registration process to agree that you'll.
And what is the name of the standard that people should know about? That
it's an RFC, and I don't remember the number.
Okay.
I can make up a number.
How can people find it?
Do an RFC search for security abuse reports.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
As a matter of fact, I'll do it. It is an RFC.
We'll link it in the show notes.
There we go.
How about that?
That's a great idea, though.
Yeah. Well, with that, I think that's all we have time for today.
We're going to cut off Kevin just before he announces what the actual RFC is.
Oh, I don't care.
No. We can announce that if he can quickly pull it up, but if not, then
the abuse one is RFC 5965. It appears.
There we go.
5965. There you go.
It was published. I don't see the published date.
Yeah. And like any RFC, they are exciting to read and very stimulating.
Oh yeah.
So make sure you read it before you go to bed.
Yes.
If you're having trouble
and you'll get a good
sleeping,
night's
forget melatonin, read RFCs.
Yes, read RFCs. You'll fall
Great
asleep
discussion,
very
guys.
quickly. Yes, good
Always.
discussion. So, all right, everyone. Well, thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Scott, for your continued participation as co-hosts.
Thanks, everyone.
It's much appreciated. And we will talk to all of you next week. That's all for this week's show. Be sure to follow the Shared Security Show on Twitter and Instagram for the latest news and show updates. If you like this episode, please hit that like and subscribe button, and please subscribe to us on your favorite podcast listening app. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week for another episode of the Shared Security Show.